of these things: address, employer, the correct name. If you're hiding from a collection agency or something, then you might not want to do this. So you might not want to correct everything if you're hiding from a collection agency. Oftentimes, that's how they find you. They find you by looking at your credit report. So they'll go in, and yes, they can pull a credit report on you. Oftentimes, might be a couple states out there that don't allow that, but they can pull a credit report on you. Typically, it's not a hard inquiry, so they're not technically hurting your credit by doing so, but they're looking for information on you. So they're looking for if there's an address that they're not aware of. They've been trying to call you forever and they haven't been able to catch you on the phone. They might start uh, sending letters to your previous addresses and the current address that's listed on your credit report, and hoping that maybe it'll get forwarded to you or what have you. Maybe they'll get that information back in the mail, that'll help them find you and be able to collect on you. So my caution to you is, if you're hiding from somebody or some entity, you might not want to correct that address and that employer information. When people are looking for you when it comes to these collection agencies, they absolutely will pick up the phone and call whoever it says your employer is. If they've been looking for you for months and it's somebody's dedicated job to try to find you, and they pull that credit report after not looking at it for a couple of months, and a new employer pops up there, they're absolutely going to pick up the phone and call HR and see if that's you and if you're working there. So again, I want to caution you from doing that if you're running and hiding. All right. So let's what else do you want to correct and look at? Social security number. So make sure your social security number is correct on your credit report. Typically, and it shouldn't be this way on anything else, you should have only the last four digits on your credit report. Years and years ago, they made these changes because of fraud. People were getting access to others' credit reports and getting their social security number. So it should only be the last four of your social, but make sure that that's correct as well. Again, since they did this COVID-19 thing, and you can get your credit report from www.annualcreditreport.com. I took a look at one of my credit bureaus, and my social is wrong. So my social is wrong. It's off by one digit on one of my credit reports. So of course, I made sure that I made those changes. Actually, I don't even think the changes have been made yet. I haven't pulled it again. But I think I've only pulled it once since I notified them that that was wrong, and it hadn't been changed as of yet. But yes, so make sure your social is correct. Again, same thing with the lenders. You're going in to try to get something. You just don't want any issues, any trouble. So make sure that's correct. Your social is extremely important. That's really what they need from you. They can get your name and everything else. If they've got your social, they can get your name. They can get your birthday and all of those things. So your social should absolutely be correct when it comes to that. All right. So, all right. What do you want to do now? Things that are actually going to improve your credit score and help you improve your credit score. The next thing you want to do, you want to look at any and all derogatory information that's on your credit report. And again, make notes. So make notes of your late payments. Go through each and every account that's on your credit report. It shows you right there when you pull that credit report. It might go back to 2006 or 2015 or whatever it is, and you'll see, green dots or red X's or however the particular credit report shows if you've paid on time or whatnot. So you want to go back and you want to make note of any and all derogatory information. So those late payments, of course, collections, if you've got charge-offs, things of that nature, bankruptcy filings, because that's still on your credit report, things of that nature. Go back and make sure that you take note of all of those things, because you're going to definitely come back to these things and address them when you're trying to improve your credit score. So make note of all those derogatory information. And when I say make note, not just circle them or whatever. If you don't remember making a late payment or being late at that particular time, or a company's account says that you were late 2 months in a row and you know that you absolutely weren't, jot that stuff down. Jot it down so you'll have that for you when you start to address those things. When it comes to collections, they're pretty straightforward, if you will. So a collection, you may not have ever heard of that particular collection agency. Maybe they never even contacted you or haven't as of yet. But inside that detail on your credit report, it's going to say who the original debtor is, who you originally owed. It'll say that. So let's say if it's a medical place, and it's XYZ Hospital. So you owed XYZ Hospital, but now ABC collection agency is collecting on you. So look at those two things in there, instead of saying, hey, I don't even know these people at all. Look at those two things and it'll tell you. And check dates as well. Check dates as well. You want to check the dates on those things to make sure that the dates are correct as well, because that might be something that can get you off the hook when it comes to some of the collections if that information is not right. All right. So the next thing you want to do, you want to check your inquiries. I know this does not necessarily help improve your credit score, but you'll see why you want to you want to check and correct your inquiries. So, not only are you checking to see, how many you have, but you also want to verify that you allowed each one of these companies that are listed as inquiries to actually pull your credit. Oftentimes you'll spot potential fraud here as well. So just because this is really the first place you can go if you're ever checking or think that you are a victim of fraud, pull that credit report and look at your inquiries, because those are going to show up before an account will. Oftentimes, an account that you open may not show up for 2 or 3 months, and if that's the case, it's not necessarily that it's already too late, but those people are long gone in 2 or 3 months if they get an account in your name. So you want to check those inquiries and make sure that, yep, I absolutely did, apply for credit here, or no, I did not apply for credit there. So you want to check those inquiries. Now listen, don't dismiss this. Listen to me. Don't dismiss this checking of the inquiries if you have a low credit score. People with low credit scores can get loans and they can get credit cards too. So just because you think you have a low credit score, you too can be a victim of fraud. So don't dismiss this if you're thinking there's no way in the world that I can get credit anyway because my credit score is X. Don't think that at all. People can absolutely do that. If you've got a bad credit score and part of your strategy to improve your score is to get a secured card, an individual that's trying to cause fraud on you may go get a secured card in your name. They might get a secured card in your name with a $200 limit, and then in 5 months they're going to give them a $500 limit. They didn't put any more money down, but they're going to give them a $500 limit. And then in a little while after that, maybe they bump that limit up to $750. And then maybe they change it from secured card to a regular credit card, regular credit card without any kind of security, and give them that $200 back that they started. So just because you have a low credit score doesn't mean that you need to relax when it comes to this. So make sure you do that. So back to inquiries. So credit bureaus feel that 6 inquiries are too much. Now, I totally disagree. I don't think that's a lot, but they seem to do. If you get 20 inquiries, now, let me tell you this, right? So if you've got 20 inquiries on your credit report, that's a lot. That's a whole lot. So that may be worth trying to get all or some of them removed. But like I said, if you've got 6 or 7 or whatever, it's not necessarily worth the time and energy to try to get those inquiries removed, because you're not going to get 10 points back for each one or whatever. You might get 1 point. You might get 2 points back for each one that you have on your credit report. So if you got 20 and you're going to get 2 points each, that's 40 points. So it's worth dealing with that if you've got that many. Now, it's worth that. Unless those 20 inquiries are from a mortgage company when you were searching for a mortgage and trying to shop for the best rate, or 2, you were looking for a car. So a lot of people get it twisted. They go in the car place and they leave the car place, whether they got the car or not, and they see that they ran a credit 7 times. Same day, same sitting. Then they ran it 7 times. Although you may not like that, it's not a big deal because you're only going to get dinged on your credit report as if you only had your credit score run 1 time. So you're not going to get dinged a whole bunch of times for that. So unless it's for a mortgage or a vehicle, then you don't really have to worry about those things. And remember, the newer versions of FICO no longer count inquiries against you after 12 months. Now, they still stay on your credit report for the full 24 months, but you're good pretty much after 12 months. And then every credit bureau is showing you dates of when these things happen, so you even know when they're going to fall off your credit report. And if you're signed up with all of the places like I am, with the Credit Sesames and Credit Karmas and everybody and their mama, they let you know. You got an inquiry that fell off your credit report, things of that nature. They always let you know when that's happening. I have one falling off this month, actually 2 that are falling off my credit report this month. So make sure you check out those inquiries as well. Now, what's next really in terms of your priorities to improve your credit score? Now is the time to dig into the 5 pillars of credit. So for a real in-depth, quick read on them to understand each one of these 5 pillars of credit, go get my book. So go get 5 Pillars of Credit on Amazon, $2.99. Go get it. You can read it this afternoon and come away with a better understanding. It also makes, of course, a good grad gift, whether it's high school or college. It makes a good grad gift. All you got to do is have their email. So shoot them an email, buy the book, send them an email. They'll get the book and be able to read it on their phone, tablet, computer, whatever. $2.99. 5 Pillars of Credit by Kevin King, the 800 Credit Score Man. So do that. So now you want to start prioritizing what to tackle next. So you can walk and chew gum at the same time. So you got all these inquiries out of the way. You filed your disputes on those things, specifically around those inquiries. At the same time, you can also file disputes on those late payments we talked about earlier. Go back to those notes, and you can file disputes on those late payments as well. Next, you want to decide if you've got credit card debt and your utilization is over 30%, you want to decide, do I handle this debt first or collections that you have? Well, it's pretty much a personal and a financial decision. On one hand, if you lower your credit card debt, your score is definitely going up, right? And you're saving money. Money's going back in your pocket by paying down that high interest debt. Now, on the other hand, though, collections cost you 60 points or so for each. It's really hard to tell how much they exactly cost you, but around 60 points is what they cost you. But you should know, too, when you're removing a collection, and you want to get them all removed, preferably, you want to get them removed, you can get back about 20 points or so. About 20 points or so, maybe 24 points if you get a collection removed from your credit report and you go ahead and handle it. So the choice is really yours. But generally speaking, what I do is I typically start with that debt reduction. At the end of the day, it raises your credit score, which is my number one priority. That's why we're here. That's why we have a show. That's why there is 800 Credit Score Man LLC that helps you restore your credit. That's the number one priority. So at the end of the day, it raises that score. And at the same time, it saves you money. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win for you, for sure. So you want to make sure you look into that. So while you're working on your credit card debt, you can file those disputes on the collections. So you're going to file those disputes on the collections while you're working on your credit card debt. And even if you filed them before, so let me say this. So some people are like, man, I filed a dispute on that, a year ago and nothing ever happened. Matter of fact, I never even heard back from the credit bureau, so I don't really know what happens. File another dispute. File another one. If you filed one and you remember and you know why you filed it or what excuse or reason you put down, try another reason. So if before you filed and you said, the amount is wrong, then pick another one. If you're filing them online, when you get there, you've got 12 or 15 options to click a button to say, why this account isn't yours or why you shouldn't pay it. File it on something else. Let the credit bureaus do the work for you. You're filing them through TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. You're filing them through them. Go ahead, let them do that work for you. That's what they're there for, partially. That's what they're there for.